What's going on YouTube? This is Jimothanis, aka vypermajik, with my Destiny review. I'll be playing some Clash in the background. This is just one of the random pickup games I had. Getting close to level 20, I'm playing as a Defender, subclass of the Titan. So, Destiny, it's finally here, and whether you love it or hate it, it's going to be part of our lives for a while. This was Bungie's $500 million development game. Obviously, they haven't spent all $500 million yet. But this game definitely is going to have quite a lifespan. If Bungie is to be believed, then I don't see why not. Activision's a big company, and they have very deep pockets. I consider this game an MMO Light. I know that Bungie's been very adamant about saying it's not an MMO, but I can't honestly see how it's not. I'll get into that in a minute. As a high-level overview, I love this game. To me, this has Game of the Year written all over it. I know that's not perfect, and I've had previous picks of Game of the Year that were not perfect. But in everything I've seen and everything I've played, at least this year, nothing has enthralled me or captivated me like this game has. So, with that aside, let me start to get into some of the meat of this. I consider this an MMO Light. If you really look at what this game offers, you have equipment upgrades, you have reputation gains, dungeon grinding, and vanity items, which are basically things that look cute but don't really affect any gameplay. This game has ships, speeder bikes, armor colors, and then armor accessories. Like the Hunter has a cape, the Titan has the little swatch of fabric on his hip. So you have those elements. To me, that's reeks of an MMO. I mean, especially when you think about what this game is actually trying to accomplish here. And you do lose some functionality when you make it an MMO world. So you don't have, like Warcraft does, you don't have guilds. Well, you do have the, they call them the clans, but they're not really implemented into the game very well right now, and that'll probably come later. There's no guild perks, there's limited customization as far as no transmogrification, no statistic changes, or no weapon aesthetics, as in keep the look of this weapon but give me the functionality of that weapon. So to me, this really is, I mean, yes, there's a few things missing, that's why I said light, but this really is an MMO. To me, what makes Bungie such a great company is they've always sold a great experience. So I can say that there are some moments in Halo that still give me goosebumps thinking about them. I'll give you an example of a few of them. I was never a big fan of the way the Halo story went. It seemed very convoluted to me. I had to use Wikipedia a lot to understand what the hell was going on. I remember playing Halo 3 and at some point scratching my head. I had these weird hallucinations of Cortana, and it just seemed kind of a jumbled mess to me. And maybe I'm just dumb, I don't know, I didn't understand it. But what Bungie did do in Halo, and especially in Halo 3, was they sold that experience to me. So the feeling I got when that music started hitting, and I was driving a fully loaded Warthog into battle, and there's a soldier on the back shooting a 50 cal. Or the end of Halo 3, and this isn't a spoiler because the game's been out for a billion years now, but when the ship, when they're trying to beam back and the ship breaks in half, and Master Chief is lost in outer space, and the ship's got no power, and he's just floating, aimlessly in the abyss. And he looks at Cortana and he says, "Wake me when you need me." Like that kind of stuff, man. That just—it's hard not to feel, a sense of like, wow, that really, really hits you right in the feels. To me, at least. So when I play those games, I feel like Master Chief, and when I play Destiny, I feel like my Titan. I feel like that character. I don't feel like a nameless soldier who is sent into war to fight. I don't feel like I do in Battlefield when I'm just some random guy that's just, I don't even know what I look like. I don't have a backstory. I don't have a purpose short of shooting the enemy or usually keeping my buddy Wes's helicopter or Kevin's tank up and running so they can kill more guys. But it doesn't feel, I don't really feel a sense of connection to that. I mean, I feel camaraderie with my friends, which you're going to find in any game when you play with other people, but not really a real sense of connection to my actual character. And I do feel like that in Destiny. I do feel like I'm this Titan. And I do feel like, especially with my my class, which is, I mean, the Titan's my class, but being an EXO and an abandoned, a machine made for war that was war long forgotten, and you're being brought back to fight again and defend Earth. And I have the Ghost Edition, and when you open up the map and it says these worlds were once ours, and it really gives you a sense of the gravity of the situation. So I love that, and that's why to me Bungie makes amazing games, and that's to me one of the reasons why I think this is going to be my game of the year. So yeah, the hype was high, and I'm not going to go point by point against all the detractors because there are a lot of them out there. I was actually really surprised to see a lot of the reviews starting to trickle in the 6s and 7s. I was thinking more 9s and 10s, obviously, but it doesn't really bother me, I guess, that people don't feel the way I do. All I would say is, I guess the thing that does bother me is I want to make sure people compare apples to apples. But even if they don't, and you just want to blindly hate on it, or be like me and get the Ghost Edition and freak out when you get it, and enjoy the hell out of it. To each their own. God bless America. But I will say that the game did have a pretty extensive beta and an alpha if you were on PlayStation. So you kind of knew what this game was going to be like. So I'm kind of surprised to see some of the feedback where people are saying, hey, the game is, it's not what we thought. It didn't live up to the hype. I mean, you knew what it was. You played it. If you were like me, you played the hell out of it. And you almost lost your marriage because you played so much of it. No, not that bad. But I played a lot of it, and I loved it. And I was constantly reading about it and hearing about it and talking with my buddies. Are they going to add this? Are they going to add that? And unfortunately or positively, depending on how you looked at it, I have a little bit of each. I'm going to go point by point here in a minute. We knew what it was going to be. So, without further ado, some of my goods and bads. To me, the graphics are insane. That's definitely a good. Super tight gameplay. Your heroes that grow with you over time, and the fact that you start off, you don't even have your jetpack, you don't even have grenades. I mean, you're really a wuss. I mean, you kind of come back. It's got that ring rust. I mean, I think of it as my warrior or my Titan, who is this machine warrior brought back to life. It's like all the parts are hanging off, and I'm like all junky. And then as time goes on, I start refining my skills, and now I got energy shields and the super smash down attack, and I can take a ton of damage, and really shape the battlefield. So I like that. I like that sense of progression, definitely. Crucible matches. I mean, you see me here playing one right now. They're definitely a lot of fun. They really emphasize teamwork, and they really emphasize the importance of a fire team if you have one. And there are enough modes to me that keeps me coming back for more. There's some vehicle combat if you're into that. If you prefer just straight up team deathmatch, that's fun. You have checkpoints, and to me it seems pretty diverse. And even the little touches that go into it too. I mean, not just in multiplayer, but in everything. That click when you zoom in on get your iron sights. The way the shadows reflect against the wall, and they don't look junky. A lot of these games, you go back and look at. I'm going to pick on Splinter Cell because that's the first time I really noticed it. You go back and look at some of the old Splinter Cells when Sam Fisher's shadow is on the wall and it's made of these little squares and it looks like garbage. It just totally breaks the experience. The way that they put all these nice little touches in there, the banter between all the vendors when you're in the tower, and just the look and feel of the world is great. And it is an open world, which is cool as hell. It's not story objective. It's not mission objective in the sense that you're forced to go in a certain area. There are patrol missions on all the planets where you can go off and just do your own thing. And that's a lot of fun. There's a lot to see and do. And it never really does break the feeling of the game. I mean, even in multiplayer, the loading screen is your ship floating in outer space. When you leave, you're back in your ship flying around. I mean, you always feel like you are your character and you are doing this. This isn't just some little game mode. Do you want to play single player or do you want to play multiplayer? This is your life. When you log into this game and you select what character you want, you are that guy throughout the whole experience. And I think that's cool. Unfortunately, that comes with some disadvantages. There's no lobbies. There's no map editing. There's no create a playlist or any of that. And I don't know why that doesn't exist. There's no reason why you can't have a lobby to vote on the next map. There's no reason why you can't have different loadouts, although there's not a whole sense of customization. I did an article on this on Films, Games, etc. about some of the things that I felt were missing in multiplayer. So I touch on those in a little more detail. But to me, the whole lobby thing, I don't see it hurting anything. And because of that, because of the fact that you're always connected online and you're kind of just going with the direction of your character, sometimes it feels like the game's taking a little bit too much control, and it'd be nice to tweak your maps and stuff a little bit more than just let the random server do what they want to do. I think that kind of going in with the open world thing, although I think it's a positive that you get to explore, there's a lot of invisible walls, and I hate that. I hate that so much. I know that there's a mechanic in the game where the enemies spawn out of certain doorways, so there are these doorways that have kind of this, looks like you're looking through a black hole almost. I get that they have to insert the enemies somehow, but after seeing how some enemies fly through with drop ships and they come down on these missile pods, or later on when you're in the moon and you're fighting with that sword and the enemies come up out of the water, why can't they have that in everything? Let's get rid of those weird doors, because that really does break the experience. I want to go see things. If I see something cool off in the horizon, I want to go check it out. So as nice as the maps are, they need to be designed in a little bit different space. I understand open world does have to have some natural boundaries to it, but these feel a little too forced, and it really does make you feel like you're in a rat in a cage sometimes. And as a result of that, a lot of the instances that you do when you're actually going through the story and going through the missions, the actual instanced part of that is too compartmentalized. And there's a lot of open world gameplay that requires you to get to one little piece. And as a result of that, you go through the same areas over and over and over again. And in just a little bit I've explored Earth, I don't want to go back to Earth anymore. I went back when I hit 20 just because I wanted to see what some of those question mark enemies were. And it wasn't even that great. But I wanted to go and see some of the new, I wanted to feel as if when I explore something, I would be rewarded somehow. I don't need loot to fall from the sky and treasure goblins to just, trickle from the heavens and all that kind of thing. But what I would like is if I'm deep diving through an area and I get to an end, put a hard boss in it that gives me a chance of getting something. Or, put little Easter eggs in there, put something in there. Far too often I would venture into a room and it was completely empty with just I don't even know why it was programmed in there. It's just an empty space that just was never finished. And it doesn't look good, and it doesn't make me feel like I'm really exploring anything at that point. I'm just kind of going through the paces, as it were. And that kind of leads to my last negative point, is that I wish there was more to do in these worlds. I mentioned, add in more collectibles. I mean, it's cool to have the ghosts that are damaged, to find those. Each level has 5 gold chests, and there are some regular chests that have a chance of giving you loot and that sort of thing. But why not have more? I think of games to like Watch Dogs, and I think of like Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row, where you have different tiers of collectibles to do different things. Collect 10 of these, 5 of these, whatever. Put those out there. Give me an incentive to go off and find this world. And while you're out there, put some really tough enemies in my way. And when I'm playing on the hard mode and I go to the open world, make those enemies hard too. I'm going off to fight level 24, brutal or hard mode guys. But on the way, and that's my instanced area, but going there, I'm fighting level 3 and 4 dregs. It's a joke. I don't even stop. I don't even get off my speeder bike to fight them. I don't even care. So the world needs a little bit of TLC. But, that's going to come with time. And that's kind of my last point in wrapping up this video here. You got to understand that Bungie is making a commitment to this game. It's all they have. It's not like in a month from now they're going to say, oh, just kidding, here's a new game. This is their game. They've invested heavily in this, obviously. You've seen all the vignettes and everything. This is all this company has been working on. So just like any other MMO or MMO Light, they're going to evolve over time. Look at Diablo. Look at how Diablo 3 was when it came out compared to what the expansion Lord of Destruction brought it. Look at World of Warcraft, how that world has evolved over time. Yes, it is paid DLC, and there are some things I think that Bungie's going to fix on their own dime. But, we're in the first step of a 20-mile race here, and people are already kind of throwing this game away, and I disagree with that. I think that there's more to come. We know there's more to come, and I think people need to give it a chance and let that play out. Right now they've already started implementing some new events. They have a different Crucible matches going on the weekends. There's a calendar up. They have new daily missions. They have new daily heroics. It's going to expand over time. I know it is. Everybody knows that it is. So when people say, oh, I beat the game in 5 hours, or I beat the game in 10 hours, you really didn't beat the game. Just like I didn't beat Warcraft when I killed the Lich King. It was just I got stronger and I knew that more content would come. So anyways, I'm going to be doing a ton more of these videos in the future. I'm going to deep dive into each specific point. Just wanted to give my high-level overview of this game. I love it. It's great. Until then, see you guys on the other side.
The fallen will continue.